Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the peak-to-peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Welcome back to the Mountain Ear Podcast, where everybody's listening. I'm Barbara Hardt.
And I'm Doug Armitage. This episode will have interviews with local musicians Brittney Wagner and Dakota Gray, Eldora Ski Patroller Roman Sanchez, as well as kids from the Young Adult Ski Patrol of Eldora Mountain Resort.
This episode is brought to you by Brightwood Music, Hardt's Backhoe, Netherland Chiropractic and Wellness Center, Roy's Last Shot, and of course, the Mountaineer newspaper. And now to the news desk.
This week's movie is The Tragedy of Macbeth, rated R. The movie runs on Friday, February 18th at 7 p.m. and Saturday, February 19th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. A Scottish lord becomes convinced by a trio of witches that he will become the next king of Scotland, and his ambitious wife supports him in his plans of seizing power.
This week's print and online edition of The Mountaineer includes several Keep It Local features. Keep It Local is a campaign to help businesses share their information and story across the peak-to-peak region. Keep It Local is funded for Nederland through the town of Nederland and through Gilpin County by the Gilpin County Commissioners. All funding is provided through the American Rescue Plan Act. You'll see 104 stories from Nederland and Gilpin throughout the entire year of 2022. In the February 10th edition, you'll see stories about Spinning Silica, Very Nice Brewing Company in Nederland, as well as Dean's Remodeling and Lies Fries, Realtor for Gilpin County. In the February 17th edition, you'll see stories about the Alpaca Store and more, Papa's Daily News, Perry's Shoe Shop, and Knotted Root.
Frozen Dead Guy Days is coming up March 18th to 20th. This year's event will feature dozens of events, live music, and more. Be sure to check out their website for event information at frozendeadguydays.com.
For our first story, we'll talk to local musician Brittney Wagner about future performances and what made her want to be a musician. Take it away, Jamie.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and this is my interview with local musician Brittney Wagner. For whatever reason, the audio on my end is a lot softer than usual, so I apologize if you can't hear my questions very well.
Hi, everybody. My name's Brittney Wagner. I'm a musician here in Nederland.
And you've got a performance coming up at Howlin' Wind, is that correct?
Yes, on February 26th from 4 to 6. I'm going to be playing there, just me and my guitar. Going to do some originals and some covers. And it's always a good time playing at Howlin' Wind.
Have you performed there before?
I have, yeah, a couple times.
How did you get started in music? What is your musical background? What got you down the path of being interested in music? Just what's the story behind all that?
Growing up, I always just loved singing. I've been singing ever since I can remember. Like, I did a bunch of talent shows and stuff like that growing up, musicals and everything. But it wasn't until I was about 19 years old, I think, that I started to play the guitar. I started playing my roommate's guitar in college, just like teaching myself off of YouTube. And so I've never really gotten some proper lessons. But from there, I went from learning songs to writing songs. I toured with a band for a little bit in Virginia called Will Overman Band. That's really what got me into playing shows and trying to do shows on my own. I really didn't start playing solo shows until maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
What's the story behind that band, if I may?
So I met Will Overman through somebody who I would just meet up and jam with, and I started just singing harmonies with him. Yeah, we went on to tour for like 3 years. I think I played, I've never actually counted, but I'd say at least like 500 shows with him from anywhere from like New York to Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, a lot of East Coast shows. But yeah, I did that for a while, and then I left the band when I moved to Colorado.
And what are some of your personal musical influences?
I would say some of my biggest personal musical influences would be Bonnie Raitt, Susan Tedeschi. For modern day artists, I'm like a really big fan of Margot Price. I really like the Wood Brothers and Billy Strings.
What are some of your stylistic choices choices when it comes to the kinds of music you perform or the way that you perform your guitar or other instruments that you may play? What are some choices that you make in performing your music?
I definitely like to lean toward the blues, country, Americana kind of style. A little bit of folk, I would say. A little bit of bluegrass.
Are there any other instruments that you play?
So when I was growing up, I used to play the viola, actually, but I haven't played that in a long time. The guitar is the only thing that I can really claim that I play anymore, other than the tambourine.
What are some of your favorite parts about being perform live?
I love when I share my own personal writing and people like the lyrics that I wrote and can relate to them, and it's really fun to just, I think, share music with a room full of people who enjoy music as well. I'm a big fan of going to see live music. I'm a big fan of being in the audience as well, so yeah, just being in a room that live music's being a part of and being the one who's delivering it is a really special experience to me.
Did you start songwriting around the same time that you started playing the guitar?
Yes, I would say so. I would say I've written a lot more over the last couple years.
Do you still kind of lean in the same style?
Yeah, I would say that my songs have become more complex the longer I write, but basically the same kind of style, country blues, folk style.
What do you like most about writing songs?
It's just a really good form of self-expression for me. Sometimes writing a song, I can come to a conclusion that I wouldn't have come to otherwise, so it's a good way for me to get to know myself better as well.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Those are basically all the big questions that I have on my end. I don't know if there's anything else.
I guess I could plug that if you want to listen to my music, I do have some online, on any of the major streaming platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. And I'm expecting to have a full album out this year. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I have anything else to add.
Well, thank you so much for coming on board. I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much, Brittney, for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. If you want to see her live, you can catch her performing at Howlin' Wind Brewing and Blending on 51A Main Street in Rollinsville on Saturday, February 26th, 2022, starting at 4 p.m. You can also stream her singles Better Off Dead, Refuge, and Not Looking Back wherever you get your music.
Thanks, Jamie. Fascinating story about Brittney Wagner.
And for our next story, we'll talk to a few of the teens from the Young Adult Ski Patrol, as well as Eldora Ski Patroller Roman Sanchez.
And now, let's cut to Netherlands intern Noah Turner interviewing ski patrollers Trinity LeBlanc, Eric Olsen, and Hayden Camp.
Hi, Trinity. I'm going to ask you some questions about the Young Adult Ski Patrol up at Eldora, Colorado. Why did you join Young Adult Ski Patrol?
I joined Ski Patrol because all of my life I've been really into skiing and I wanted to learn more about helping people. I've seen them on the hill, taking people down, and I just thought it would be a really cool job to be able to ski and learn medical stuff and help people.
Why else do you like being on Junior Ski Patrol?
I like the community in Ski Patrol. Everybody's really nice to everybody and everybody's kind of there for you. We have a psychological first aid program for things that you see that happens, but I think it's cool.
How long have you been skiing up at Eldora or just skiing in general?
Probably since I was 2, so 14 years at Eldora.
Wow.
And both of my parents work there, and my dad does Ski Patrol.
Has being on the Young Adult Ski Patrol inspired you to pursue being on either the volunteer or professional ski patrols later?
Yes, definitely. Maybe not at Eldora, but seeing all the cool stuff that we do, definitely. All the medical aspects and the skiing, definitely.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to be doing a quick interview with you, Eric Olsen, about the Young Adult Ski Patrol at Eldora. Why did you join Ski Patrol?
It's kind of fun to help people, and also you get to spread fresh pattern.
Why do you like being on Junior Ski Patrol?
It's fun to see the different side of the mountain, hang out with some cool people, and ski.
How long have you been skiing up at Eldora, or just skiing in general?
Since I was 4, I started at Eldora.
Has being on the Young Adult Ski Patrol inspired you to pursue being on either the volunteer or professional ski patrols later?
Maybe after high school, take a gap year and patrol, probably not Eldora, but maybe a different mountain.
Sweet. Thank you so much for your time. All right, I'm here with Hayden Camp, Junior Ski Patroller up at Eldora, and I'm going to ask him some questions. Hayden, why did you join the Young Adult Ski Patrol?
Because I love skiing. I've skied up at Eldora my entire life. I know a couple patrollers on the force, and it always interested me, so decided to join.
Why else do you like being on the ski patrol?
Well, I love the medical aspect of it. It's made me want to go into pre-med, and it's fun just being up on the mountain.
How long have you been skiing up at Eldora, or just skiing in general?
I've been skiing since I was 2, and Eldora since I was 2.
Has being on the Young Adult Ski Patrol inspired you to pursue being on either the volunteer or professional ski patrols later?
Yes, when I'm in college, wherever college I go to, I'm going to try and join maybe a volunteer patrol there, because it'd just be a fun way to stay in the business, learn more medical stuff, yeah.
Sweet, thank you for your time.
My name is Jamie Lammers, and this is my interview with Eldora Ski Patrol's Roman Sanchez.
My name is Roman Sanchez with Eldora Ski Patrol. I'm the supervisor for the young adult program that we have up the mountain, which features high school students from the Netherlands area as well as Boulder, Longmont area.
How long have the ski patrollers been a thing?
Well, I mean, as long as mountains are open to folks skiing, there's always going to be adult patrollers, pro patrollers, and volunteer patrollers for taking care of injured guests on the hill. And then the young adult program that we have up at Eldora, which currently is in its 10th season, is a program that my patrol director, Travis Brock, and I had spoke about, and I got a lot of support bringing back to Eldora. There used to be a young adult program before my time. I'm not exactly sure when that started and when it ended, but the impetus for me to start it was when my son himself was in high school, and at the age of 15, he started. He was the first class of this latest generation of young adult ski patrollers. So a good 10 years now, minus the COVID year.
Who are the ski patrollers this year?
Well, this is one of the biggest classes that we've had in past years. We've kept it 4, tops 5, and last year Travis and I decided we would allow a big group to come in, and I think this year we have 14 to 15 kids, varying from a cohort from Netherlands High School, some kids from down in Longmont, Gun Barrel area, and then in Boulder as well.
And when did this year start getting into gear?
So all of the kids, the requirements are that they be at least 15 years of age to start, and that's part of the National Ski Patrol organization's requirements for young adult ski patrollers. So actually last year they all had to take a ski test to see what their ski level was, and that needed to be advanced expert skiing capacity. And then this year, sometime around mid to late August, they all had to enroll in what's known as the Outdoor Emergency Care course, which is first aid rescue curriculum through the National Ski Patrol that Eldora put on for them, as well as our adult volunteer program that we had. Everyone needed to go through that and pass the written exam as well as the hands-on psychomotor practical exam in order to then move forward with getting on the mountain.
So all of these kids have gone through rigorous training.
Yep, they've all gone through the rigorous training. They all passed the exam, and now they're in the process of just shadowing our paid staff and learning essentially the ropes of patrolling. It's kind of a leadership program, giving back to the community by helping take care of patients. Now, they're not doing any patient care by themselves. Right now, they're just in the very beginning process of watching, assisting with things like taking people's vitals or doing scene safety above a scene for us or helping with splinting. Just basically learning all the ropes of ski patrolling.
And what would you say is your favorite part about being able to bring in new recruits or just working with the ski patrollers in general?
I do love the camaraderie amongst our patrol in particular. I get the sense that it's like that on all patrols, but being a local small mountain, one of the most important parts of patrolling for me is just the patient care. Being able to take care of people, teaching kids. I think it's a great skill for the high schoolers to start learning, especially a lot of these kids that love the outdoors, how to take care of themselves, how to make important decisions, how to have good situational awareness, and then what to do in an emergency situation. It's a great life skill to have.
And with the way that the cohorts are assigned this year, which is obviously different in that it's a much larger group, what else do you find different about the way that
the ski patrollers work with each other, or how you have to train the ski patrollers, or is there anything else that is a big difference because of a much larger group?
Yeah, well, it's just managing, to be quite honest, it's just managing a bunch of very excited teenagers. In the past, with 4 kids, it was obviously a little bit more manageable. This year, I have a lot of the younger pro staff getting involved with the program, a lot more support from my patrol director and assistant patrol director to start attaching groups of kids to the different patrollers, which kind of gives me a little bit of space so I'm not having to answer 14, 15 different questions at once. And then plus they get to see a variety of different styles and thoughts and ways of being on the mountain, and younger folks that have decided to make patrolling a career.
Are there any comparisons that you can potentially draw from Eldora's ski patrol to other ski patrols in the area?
You know, first and foremost, our responsibility is taking care of patients. That's our first responsibility on the mountain, is anytime there's an injury or an injured person. I think that Eldora also, because we're a small mountain, is we're a working patrol as well. What I mean by that is we're not just doing patient care, but we're raising tower pads after storms, we're setting up boundary ropes, we're doing a lot of guest services, we help out with speeder control. We do patrol exchanges where pro patrollers get to go visit other areas, and we have other patrollers from other areas come to visit us. However, it's not something I've done.
Is there anything in general you want to add about the program, or what's coming up for the program?
Just that I think it's a great program. It's a great leadership program for the youth in the area. We do have quite a big group from Netherlands this year, and kids that have grown up on the mountain. For example, I know Trinity LeBlanc, her dad was at one point, some 15 years ago, the patrol director of Eldora, and now he's just one of the paid patrollers. So I've watched her grow up at Eldora, and now to see her actually on the hill and participating in patrol activities has been great. And as I mentioned, my son went through the program himself, and I think it was instrumental in his college applications, in his general confidence as a skier, and being able to help in situations where maybe other kids his age didn't have any experience. And by that I mean he did a lot of backpacking and skiing and hiking, and he kind of always had this idea of how to best prepare for the worst mentality. And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of the kids who have grown up on the mountain to also give back now to the community and learn about the importance of safety on the mountain, because now they're getting to see real time, close up what happens when people are skiing unsafely, riding unsafely, straight lining. So they're getting a big picture now. A lot of things that people don't really get to see when you just come up to ski for a day. Just all the behind the scenes things that go into making an operation like a ski resort work and run smoothly.
I think those are all the big questions I have about the ski patrol and about all the things that have been going on there. I want to thank you so much for coming on board and joining the podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure.
For sure.
Thanks for putting it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Roman, for joining the podcast and talking to me about Eldora's Ski Patrol.
Thanks, Jamie, for those awesome interviews.
Back to the news desk. Visit Brightwood Music in Netherlands, which offers ever-changing variety of banjos, guitars, and more. Every week brings new and used instruments into the store. They also offer a new, inexpensive mandolin selection, as well as student and professional grade violins and more. They offer repairs on-site and lessons for all ages and abilities. Brightwood Music is family-owned and operated and has been a Netherlands staple for over a decade. They are located at 20 East Lakeview Drive, Unit 109 in Netherlands, and can be reached at 303-258-8863.
Peak-to-peak musicians and artists, we're looking for you. Would you like a feature story in The Mountaineer? We cover all news of the Peak-to-Peak, including business, author, and artist profiles. We also offer features on our podcast, webcast, and social media. Right now, these are all completed through email, phone calls, and occasional in-person interviews with our journalists. We are your community news source. Interested? Email publisher1977@gmail.com to get on the list for upcoming editions.
And for our final story today, we interview local musician Dakota Gray.
My name is Jamie Lammers, and this is my interview with local musician Dakota Gray.
My name is Dakota Gray. I play mandolin in the Dakota Gray Band. It's a project that kind of started off as a solo project when I first moved out here to Colorado about 3 years ago. And slowly I just kind of kept bringing on other friends until it developed into a full 5-piece bluegrass band. We kind of got the ball rolling a little bit, and then COVID hit, and we didn't have anything for a while. And then I'd say about last summer, really, when everything started kind of opening back up, we started playing more regularly around the Denver area and have been excited to play at new places ever since.
And speaking of playing, you're coming up to perform in the Peak to Peak area very soon.
Yeah, so on February 20th, I'm going to be doing a solo show up at UC Brews in Netherlands. And that's actually going to be my first time playing up in that area, so I'm really excited to get up there. I'll be doing music from 2 to 4 on that Sunday. And then actually in April, we just announced a show. April 23rd, we'll be playing up at Howlin' Wind Brewery up in Rollinsville. So another one kind of up in that area. We'll be doing a trio show that day.
You mentioned that you are primarily a bluegrass band and that you've kind of focused on that general genre. Are there any influences that have inspired you and the other band members in particular?
I mean, of course, some of the more new grass stuff we're all kind of into. So for me, it all kind of started with Yonder Mountain String Band that really inspired me. But then a lot of the newer stuff like Infamous String Dusters, Green Sky Bluegrass, a lot of those bands that kind of combine the jam band rock and roll aspect with bluegrass. But of course, gotta love the old Ralph Stanley, Bill Monroe, paying respects to some of the originals too. We have about 10 to 12 original songs that we'll do in a show, and the other stuff is covers. And those covers can range from anywhere from old Bill Monroe numbers to really kind of out there pop songs that you wouldn't expect as a bluegrass number.
How did the band start?
So I guess it really kind of goes back to about 2014 in Southern Illinois. I started playing music, and it was around the time I started playing mandolin and got a jug band together called Old Toby, a 4-piece jug band, really kind of old traditional bluegrass with a couple friends. And then when that ended in 2015, I started a band with some other friends in the area called Porch Fire, which was more of a jam band, bluegrass band, kind of bluegrass roots, but really more electric and jammy than anything. And did that for about 2 years, and that actually is really kind of what got me going as a musician, I'd say. We really got the opportunity to tour around a little bit and play some bigger music festivals in the area, including a Summer Camp Music Festival for 2 years and a few others that kind of got our name out there for a little bit. When I was lucky enough to, the fiddle player who we were playing with in that band, she has actually also relocated out to Colorado and plays fiddle with me now in the Dakota Gray Band. So it was about 2018 I moved out to Colorado. Like I said earlier, I started doing solo shows at first and brought on a good friend who I attended school with in Southern Illinois, Kyle Sutton, to play guitar, and we did a couple shows. And then Cecily Rhodes moved out here, our fiddle player who played with me in Porch Fire, and she started playing violin with us. And so that's when we kind of started doing shows as a trio, the Dakota Gray Trio. Then our really good friend Grace, she has always just been an incredible singer and would just kind of sing with us when we were playing at parties and practicing and stuff. And so we just invited her to join the band as well. And she's really, she's one of the most talented musicians I've ever played with, and it's just natural ability for her. She can really sing very well. And then we actually added our friend Michael Stewart, who is a sound tech engineer, to play bass guitar with us. So that's really kind of helped us fill our low-end sound and turn us to the 5-piece bluegrass band that we are.
Are there any particular styles that you or the other band members focus on when it comes to your specific playing?
I mean, I think we all kind of have the roots in bluegrass, but we kind of like to throw all sorts of stuff into it. I personally like to throw some effects on my mandolin. It kind of gives it a psychedelic feel at times. Grace she can belt out and do whatever when she's singing, and it really helps us be able to play really any type of song. Our guitar player, Kyle, does a great job. He really kind of stays home and holds the rhythm and the bass melody down for our band, especially since we didn't have a bass player for a long time. So I'd say bluegrass, folk, and Americana are kind of our genre that we stick to, but definitely can surprise you a little bit with some more intense, fast, heavy jams. in our songs.
And what are some of your favorite parts about being able to perform live?
I mean, really everything. I've always, ever since I first started taking the stage around and back in 2014, I've just loved playing music. I've actually recently become a full-time musician, not necessarily by choice. I was working as a caregiver up in Evergreen, Colorado for about 2 years for a family, and unfortunately the person I was caregiving for passed away back in December, and so as I looked for other employment, I've just been trying to play as many shows as possible, and really it's kind of inspired me to really lean into music as a more full-time situation. So I think in the fall I plan on going back to school and getting a music business degree and really doing as much as I can to just play music as much as possible right now. It's kind of hard to imagine myself happy doing anything else.
Is there anything else you want to add about other performances coming up or anything else about the band or about your performance or anything along those lines?
We've got a few shows in the Denver area coming up, plus a few more that we'll be announcing on our social medias in the next month or so, hopefully. Some ones that we're really excited about. So, yeah, if anyone wants to keep up with what we're doing, they can follow us on Facebook or our Instagram. Both are Dakota Gray Band. If you search it, they're pretty easy to find. But, yeah, we're really excited to get out and play around Colorado as much as we can. We're really hoping in this next year to expand our reach a little more. We've been playing a lot in the Denver Front Range area, but we'd love to expand a little more, start playing out in the mountains a little more. So hopefully that can be achieved this year. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited to be coming up to Netherland and Rollinsville in these next couple of months and playing in that peak-to-peak area. So, yeah, I definitely hope that people come check us out.
I think those are all of the big questions that I have on my end. So, yeah, I want to thank you so much for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. This was great.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Dakota, for coming on board. If you want to see him live, you can catch him performing at Busey Brews in Netherland, 70 East 1st Street on Sunday, February 20th at 2 p.m.
Thanks again, Jamie.
Did you know Hardt's Backhoe Service is your locally owned and operated excavating company? Working in the Peak-to-Peak region, they can take care of all your excavating needs, including septic installation, digging your new foundation, rock walls, construction demolition, and so much more. They are now scheduling summer and fall projects. You can reach them at 303-589-9354.
And that's all for this week's episode of the Mountaineer Podcast. All editions of the Mountaineer Podcast are available on our website at www.themountaineer.com.
And you can pick up this week's edition on the stands in multiple locations across the Peak-to-Peak, including Western Boulder County, all of Gilpin County, and Jefferson County.
And go online to www.themountaineer.com to catch up on more local news. I'm Doug Armitage.
And I'm Barbara Hardt. Until next time, thanks for listening.
You think you got it under control. You think you're something, and you think you know. Lord help you.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak-to-Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.